I dreamed of having a child. She dreamed I'd never ask whose it was. Now picture this. You're sipping coffee with the woman carrying your future under her heart. She smiles, says nothing, and silently kills you a little more each day. But back then I didn't know. I was in love. Blindly, stupidly in love. We met the usual way, friends, a little wine, background music, some stupid truth or dare kind of game. She was in red, smelling like cinnamon, with a laugh that stayed in the room long after she left it. Me. Just a regular guy in a shirt 2 sizes too big, looking like I didn't belong anywhere. When she chose me, I thought I hit the jackpot. Not the kind that wins you money, the kind that makes you feel seen. Wanted. We lived together for 2 years. No fights, no drama, no get-out moments. Kate was gentle, passionate, attentive, and I loved her so much it hurt to breathe without her. But I had one fear. Quiet. That I might not be able to be a father. I remembered my dad. How he'd place his hand on my mom's belly and talk to my unborn sister like she could already hear him. He read her bedtime stories like she was in the room. And I promised myself as a kid, one day I'll do the same. Then came that day. A pregnancy test. 2 lines. Her tears. My silence. Then, my knees hit the floor. You're serious? She nodded, crying. I hugged her, and in that moment, the world shifted. My life suddenly meant something. I wasn't just a man anymore. I was going to be a father. Kate bloomed. She carried that baby like a goddess. Prenatal classes, tiny onesies, little booties that could fit in your palm. And me? I cooked her salmon with lemon pepper. Nothing else would do. Carried her bags. Whispered fairy tales to her belly. I was good. I was kind. I was maybe an idiot. Because I didn't notice anything. Or didn't want to. The first crack? The dates. So, conception happened around June 10th? Yeah. But you were with your sister then, right? I came back for a day. You don't remember? Maybe. I was working late. She smiled, kissed me, but the scratch in my head stayed. Small, but deep enough to itch. The second? Her reaction to a gift. I had a pendant made, engraved. Our first heartbeat, my everything. When I gave it to her, she cried, but not the good kind of crying. Her eyes weren't sparkling. Not from joy, at least. What's wrong? Nothing. Just hormones. I'm emotional. She ran to the bathroom. Didn't come out for 30 minutes. No sound. I stood behind the door. Didn't knock. Because if truth was in there, I didn't want it out. Third? The name. Oh, Jared from college texted me. Who's that? Just some guy. Asked how I'm doing. Were you too close? Not really. Don't even remember him much. That night, I heard her laughing into her phone. She called someone J Bear. I told myself I misheard. Because love is also knowing how to unhear things when you desperately want to believe. Fourth, Mark G. Contact in her phone. Vanishing. Reappearing. Changing profile pics. I caught one notification. You didn't text this morning. Is everything okay with him? With him. With who? Oh, just a former coworker. Like a mentor. He knows I'm pregnant, he's just worried. I nodded. But inside, something in me was beginning to bend. Then came the crack that turned into collapse. We were at a small get-together. One of her old college friends, drunk, loud, laughing. Remember your love triangle with Jared junior year? I turned to her. You never told me that. There was nothing. Stupid. Nothing? He was ready to fight anyone over you. Shut up, she hissed through her teeth. I smiled. I always smile when something starts to rot. That night I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, and for the first time, let the thought breathe. What if this isn't my child? And that thought swallowed me whole. I found a clinic. Prenatal paternity test. Private. Confidential. Her DNA, already collected from a previous checkup. Mine fresh. Simple. No questions. I paid. Signed up. Said nothing. Then the show went on. More stories. More belly pictures. More ultrasound videos with tiny hands waving like it meant something. This is our son, she whispered. Look, he already looks like you. But I wasn't looking anymore. I was waiting. Not for the birth. For the result. Kate was preparing for the baby shower like an actress rehearsing her final monologue in a drama that would never make it to Netflix, but would definitely win an award in the category of lying with style. Everything was Pinterest perfect. The invitation said, "A little miracle is on the way." There were cards for guests to guess the due date. The cake was shaped like a diaper. Yeah, a diaper. Real classy. Even the color scheme was planned to the tiniest pastel detail. Mint green and gold. Because, we don't want to know the baby's gender, it's all about the surprise. Yeah, well, I had a surprise too. Except mine was folded in my jacket pocket. And it wasn't sweet. Cake glowed. Literally. Makeup like a bride. Hair like a shampoo commercial. Nails painted with microscopic baby icons that made me want to gouge my eyes out. A satin ribbon draped over her belly. Mommy-to-be. On her face, pure bliss. Or rather, the kind of joy that's been practiced in front of a mirror for weeks. And me? I sat next to her. And died quietly. Not physically. Spiritually. One nerve at a time. If anyone asks what hell looks like, it's this. You sit next to a woman who's carrying someone else's child. And you smile for pictures. Every move she made? Perfect. Every smile? Rehearsed. We're so excited. Felt like a bullet fired into an empty room. Babe, what do you think about the name Lucas? Sounds good. Why not? You've been kinda quiet lately. Everything okay? I'm just nervous. It's our firstborn after all. I wasn't lying. I was nervous. But not about the baby. I was nervous about the truth. The truth that was ticking like a bomb under her pastel balloon arch. The test results were sent to my office. I asked for it specifically. No accidental discoveries. No tears before the curtain call. I wasn't afraid of the truth. I was afraid of her reaction to it. Day 1, silence. Day 2, still nothing. Day 3, every knock on the door hit me like a punch to the chest. Every mailman felt like a goddamn executioner. Then it came. 2 days before our big day. There it was. Lying on my desk. Flat. White. Completely unremarkable. And yet, the most dangerous object I had ever held. I didn't open it right away. I sat there. Like a soldier. Knowing what I held wasn't a letter. It was a trigger. 1 hour. 2. 4. I couldn't eat. I couldn't think. I couldn't breathe. I just stared. At a sentence I hadn't read yet, but already felt in my bones. Meanwhile, Kate was flooding my phone. We ordered the balloons. Blue and pink, just like we wanted. Your mom said she's bringing the quilt from Grandma. Remember that. I'm so happy. This will be our day, baby bottle yellow heart. Our day. That word family. Cut deeper every time. Because it didn't feel like mine anymore. Late that night, I found the strength. Tore the edge of the envelope. Pulled out the results. Eyes scanned lines like reading a death sentence. Then came the one line that changed everything. Exclusion. The alleged father is not the biological father of the unborn child. Just a line. Just English. Just ink on paper. 2 inches of truth that burned my entire future to ash. I wasn't in the DNA. I wasn't in that child. I wasn't in her. I wasn't anywhere. I didn't cry. There was nothing left to cry with. I was hollow. So hollow, even tears couldn't find a place to land. I sat there till dawn. First shock, then rage, then silence. The kind of silence you only hear after something explodes. Not noise, just ringing. And the shadow of fire behind your ribs. In the morning I brewed coffee. Not for her. For me. Just to have something to hold. So I wouldn't crush the truth in my bare hands. Didn't sleep? She asked. Tossed a bit. Don't worry. We'll rest after tomorrow. It's our celebration after all. Celebration. She sat across from me. Not a trace of worry. Not even warmth. You know what I saw in her eyes? Not guilt. Not shame. Just calculation. She was scanning me. Measuring if I knew. If I was still dumb enough to play along. And at that moment, I saw everything. If there had ever been love in her eyes, it died the moment that lab result landed in my hand. I took the envelope, locked it in the glove box, sat behind the wheel, and I thought, not now, not one-on-one, not in whispers. She chose to betray me in front of everyone, to turn our life into a show. Then the ending would be staged too, with balloons, with champagne, with smiling relatives and a truth so sharp it would tear through them all. I no longer hesitated. I wore my mask like a pro. She played the glowing goddess of motherhood. And in my pocket was the truth, cold, precise, razor sharp. And in 48 hours, it was going to explode. The baby shower was set for Saturday. Forecast? Sunny, 79 degrees, perfect weather for family magic. According to the weather app. But no one mentioned that the air that day would smell less like cake and more like truth. Kate woke up first. Jumped out of bed like a bride on her wedding morning. Same energy. Same white robe. Same damn lie behind her eyes. "Oh my God, it's today," she squealed, twirling around the kitchen. "You ready?" she asked. "Always," I smiled. But inside, it was silent. So silent I could hear my second heartbeat. The one I'd grown not from love, but from betrayal. The one that helped me survive in a home where I no longer existed. Everything looked like it came straight out of a Pampers commercial. My backyard? A Pinterest postcard I wanted to burn to the ground. Balloons, banners, fancy napkins with golden swirls. A photo booth sign that said, "Our Little Miracle." Cookies shaped like elephants, hearts, and baby bottles. She walked the yard like she owned it, commanding volunteers and photographers like a queen of fakeness, gliding like she wasn't carrying someone else's child, but a Nobel Prize for Best Actress in the role of a future mom. "This is the happiest day of my life," she beamed into the camera. "It's about to get even better," I whispered back. That line wasn't for her, was for me. Because at that point, I wasn't pretending anymore. I wasn't a husband. I wasn't a father. I was a ghost. I didn't see her as a woman. I saw her as evidence. Because people lie. But evidence, you expose. The guests trickled in. College friends. Nets. Old coworkers. Even her former boss who still sends her Christmas cards. All of them brought gifts, smiles, and words sharp enough to gut me. "You two are perfect together. That baby's gonna be gorgeous. You deserve all this happiness." Yeah, we did. The word she shattered like a cheap glass. I smiled. I nodded. And in my pocket, my hand gripped the envelope. Thin, white, razor sharp, and ice cold. When it was time for toasts, I quietly raised my hand. "I'll go last," I said. Kate leaned in. "You sure? I know you hate speaking in front of people. It's a special day. I've got something to say." She smiled, still clueless. That smile would be the last one I'd ever mistake for real. I stepped in front of everyone, standing beneath an arch of balloons like it was the altar of some fake religion. Silence. Phones raised. Cameras on. "Dear friends," I began. "Thank you for being here today. For the gifts, the love, the support." Kate smiled, placed her hand on her belly, played her role to perfection. She had no idea. This day is special, but not for the reasons you think. Before we get to the dessert table, let me tell you a story. I paused. A story about hope, about trust, and about the truth. I reached into my pocket, pulled out the envelope, looked down, then looked at Kate. Some of you know I've dreamed of being a father for years. I imagined holding a tiny hand and whispering, "I'm here. I always will be." I looked at the crowd, and when Kate said she was pregnant, I believed her. The way a child believes in Santa Claus. Without questions, without hesitation, without armor. I let that sit. But things didn't add up. The dates, the names from the past, the messages, the eyes that couldn't meet mine. I looked around. Dead silence. And so, I took a test. A prenatal paternity test. Not to accuse her, but to silence my own fear. To prove my doubts were just that. Doubts. I opened the envelope. Slowly. Deliberately. Like cocking a shotgun. And here's what it said. Exclusion. The alleged father is not the biological father of the unborn child. Silence. The kind that screams. Someone dropped a glass. Someone gasped. Someone just stared at her like she was a haunted doll from a horror movie. Kate turned pale. Her eyes, blank. Her mouth opened. But no words came out. Because for once, there was no role left to play. This test wasn't taken by a suspicious man. It was taken by someone who had been lied to. But today, I paused. Today he's free. I laid the envelope down, looked into her eyes, not as a husband, as a man who survived. Thank you, Kate. You taught me something. Trust isn't something you're given. It's something you lose. What? Forever. And I turned around and walked away. No screaming, no rage, just footsteps, broken glasses, and the corpse of a celebration, left bleeding between the banners and the balloons. After the baby shower, I didn't go home, not because I couldn't, but because I refused to leave footprints in a place soaked with lies. When a space is poisoned by betrayal, you don't cleanse it, you abandon it, and you walk. I checked into a cheap motel, the kind that smelled like old cigarettes and broken air conditioning, but at least, it didn't smell like bullshit. Kate called. Every 5 minutes at first. Then every hour. Then, silence. I never picked up. Never planned to. Her voice didn't matter anymore. It burned with the envelope I left on the gift table. Wrapped in applause. Drenched in truth. The text flooded in like a desperate storm. Please just talk to me. I didn't know how to tell you. It was a mistake. I loved you. I didn't want to hurt you. Say something. But I already had. Publicly. Clearly. Enough. Regret doesn't beg. It endures. Begging? Begging is just damage control. I wasn't her safety net anymore. Her mother tried to intervene. A real letter. On real paper. You didn't have to do that in front of everyone. That was cruel. Kate just made a mistake. There's still a chance to work this out. I didn't even read it all the way through. Because that wasn't a mistake. That was a pattern. Repeated. Deliberate. All the way to the finish line. Her father? Said nothing. The smartest thing he ever did. My friends? Some whispered behind my back. Some didn't say a word. Just gripped my hand like they knew what real survival looked like. When I showed up at Barry's place, my best friend, he opened a bottle of whiskey in silence, poured 2 glasses, then simply said, "I always knew you'd make a good father." "Thanks," I replied. "Just not for someone else's kid." A few days later, I went back to the house, alone. When she wasn't there, she probably thought I was coming back with a speech, with rage, with forgiveness, but I brought none of that. I walked in, took only what was mine. No mugs, no photos, no leftover scraps of us. I didn't move out. I erased myself, like a hacker wiping a server. No shared pictures left on my phone. No trace on social media. No memories either. Not because it hurt, but because I had a principle now. We weren't a story. We were a bad season in a fake series. And I just clicked remove from library. Started from zero. No drama. No speeches. No new promises. I ran. I worked. I ate in silence. Spoke only when needed. Listened more than I talked. Watched people, not to connect, but to analyze. I didn't become bitter. Just more precise. Words? They're cheap. Now I believe in silence. In the kind that doesn't ask anything from you. Sometimes, I'd see her. Far away. Alone. Or with someone. She walked slower now. Smiled at strangers with eyes that were empty. Still wearing a new face. Still playing the same old role. I didn't stop. Didn't flinch. Just kept walking. Because she stayed where she chose to be. Among balloons that'll never rise again. Among fake miracles. Among the silence that belongs to her now. Not me. One night I looked in the mirror. The beard was thicker. The eyes, colder but clear. The heart, quiet, but not broken. And I told myself, I wanted to be a father. But first, I had to be a man. And now, I am one again.